Morning. Let's just start standing with the feet a little wider than hip distance. And we're just going to start with a little shaking. So bending in the knees and seeing if you can let that shake just roll up the body. Just going to start by feeling the feet underneath us. Feeling where the feet touch the earth. Keeping the knees and the joints soft. Letting the tailbone relax towards the earth. Letting that shake just rock and roll up the whole body. Just think of here, just shaking off everything you don't need. Shaking out the worries, shaking out the fears. Shaking off everything that everyone else is telling you so you can find your way back to what you know, what you center thoughts, center physically. You bend down, you can take it to the side. See if you can just shake here about another minute. And notice if you're holding anywhere in the buttocks and the shoulders, and give them a little extra shake. And just relax the tailbone down, relax the buttocks, keep the joints soft. Whew. Let the breath out. And just shake it off. Just a few more breaths here. So really, if there's anything else where you feel like you're holding, just see if you can find that part of you. And then we're going to release the effort. And we're just going to bring the hands to the belly. And see if we can find that area of center. So when you feel ready, just release the effort. Pause for a moment. You're probably going to feel a little sparkly here. Bring the hands just below the belly button. So I'm in the lower dantian. The bottom of my hands is the hip creases. Keeping the knees soft. Allow the buttocks to relax. Allow the tailbone to relax. Close off the eyes for a moment. Breathe into the center. Notice what you notice. And then we're just going to clear off everything we've shaken off and really move it away from ourselves. So we're just going to sweep down the shoulder, out the arm, down the top of the head, out the arm. Sweep the hands down the front of the body. Sweep the hands down the back of the body. And just take all that gunk that you're shaking off and just sweep it off. Sweep it out the door. Throw it out the window. A little bit more, just whoo. Maybe that's sticky stuff, other people's crap that's stuck on you, just shake it off, sweep it off. You can, I like to kind of sweep it off my mat and out the door. And then here we are. It's just us now. And then you can rock and roll on the feet. You can take the feet. So my feet are wider than hip distance. I'm going to lift the toes, rock and roll on the feet. Still relaxing the tailbone. Find the shoulders over the hips so I'm not leaning forward. And then we're going to find our way to the center channel, the central channel. So you can just start gently swinging the arms, And think of that central axis of the body from the crown to the tailbone. Keep the tailbone nice and relaxed. Now, if you have a lot of energy, I'm working pretty passively here. I'm just letting the arms swing. If you have a lot of energy this morning, you can bring the arms in the cactus and be a lot more active with it. So this is more of a kundalini spin. This is more of a Qi Gong. So whichever one you're feeling today, you can try both. I'm just gonna spin around the central axis, tune into that Sushumna Nadi, that center, that core of energy. Comes down through the crown, third eye, throat. You can switch back and forth however you need. If you want to come into the more active one. Same thing though, you're focusing on the central channel. And take another minute here. So just allow yourself to really tune into that central channel from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone. Let the hips move. Feel yourself tuning into the back and the spine and the floor. Go ahead and take a few more rounds. Let the shoulders come away from the ears. And then we're going to slowly start to release the effort. So whichever twist you're taking, just start to release the effort. If your arms are up, let your arms hang. And then once you release the effort, you'll see that the body keeps moving a little bit. Let it find its own way to center. And once you feel like you're back in center, just pause there. You can bring the hands back to the belly. Take a few breaths in. See if you can draw that sense of that energy coming down the crown, all the way out the tailbone. Another breath here. Your body still might be moving. That's great. You put a lot of movement into the water. Created a little wave of water. Just let that wash through you. It can wash away all the rest of the little sticky bits that might feel stuck this morning. And then we're going to take a body scan. So you can watch and then you can close off the eyes, because what we really want to do here is bring the inner vision into the body. So knees are still soft, feeling the feet underneath you. You might feel like you're rocking a little bit back and forth. That's great. That's just energy moving through the body, connecting into bigger force field. So for a body scan, on the inhale, we're going to let the arms come up along the side of the body. Inhaling up overhead. And then as the hands come together, fingertips together, palms facing the body, and just connecting to sense what's going on in the body with the hands. Moving nice and slowly. So once you get this movement, you can close the eyes off, inhaling up. Fingertips come together at the top, and then palms facing the body, and just, again, drawing that energy down to the crown, third eye, throat, heart, belly, sacrum. As you get to the bottom, to the root, allow that energy to feel as if it's going all the way down the legs, the tailbone, rooting you to earth. And then just keep inhaling up As you inhale up, drawing up earth energy. As you exhale down through the central channel, just tuning into bringing that heavenly chi down into the body. So making this connection with yourself between heaven and earth. Go ahead and just, we're going to take a few more here. See if you can find one more round. And then once again, as you finish, we're going to bring the hands to the belly, right below the belly button, to the lower dantian, to the hara, in Japanese, just that center place that we move from. See if you can breathe into this place underneath your hands. Few more breaths here. Find your center. Relax the tailbone. Allow the tailbone to be a third root. So if you think of your two legs each as a root going down to the earth, think of your tailbone as a third root, rooting you down to earth, energetically moving towards the earth. One more breath here. And you can keep your legs as they are, or you can walk a little bit further. And we're just gonna come into just a small ninja. So bring your hands wherever you need to for balance. We're gonna lean over to one side and let the opposite toes point towards the ceiling. So I'm leaning in, bending my right knee, pointing the left toes towards the ceiling, and then moving across. Finding a little balance here, just really small. And then check in with yourself. Try not to lean forward. See if you can stand as tall as you can so you're facing forward. So it's just a little movement here. As I move on to the bent leg, bring the weight to the bent leg. Opposite toes point towards the ceiling. And you're welcome to, as you work, start widening out the legs. So moving the legs a little bit more apart from each other. So you go a little bit deeper. If you're super tight in the hamstrings or the quads, just pause and stay there. And then just notice if you're leaning forward or if you can bring the heart up. Take a few more rounds. So this is called ninja. So you can think of yourself as a little stealth ninja here, able to get through whatever you need to get through. And then see if you can make your way back to center. We're going to take the feet out even just a little bit wider and just take a nice forward fold. So bring the hands to the hips and then just lean forward. You can bring the hands to the mat. Let the head relax. You can walk the hands underneath the feet and draw yourself a little deeper. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. So just let everything hang. Notice if you're holding any tension in the mouth, if the tongue is stuck to the roof of the mouth, if the jaw is tight, so you can release it here. One more breath. And then gently start to bring yourself back up. We're going to heel toe the feet in just a little bit so we're hip distance apart again. So earlier we were wider than hip distance. See if you can bring your feet about hip distance. Look down at the feet. See if you can let the outside edges of the feet be parallel. So the toes are a little bit moving towards each other. And then we're going to take ocean spine here. So again, soften the knees, tailbones relaxed. Inhale, let the arms float up. And then we're going to dive into that forward fold. Release the breath in the forward fold. You can pause there, and when you're ready to inhale, floating back up, lower back, middle back, upper back. Head and neck come last. Arms float up once again. This time, just bringing the hands in front of you, back to the heart center. Press the thumbs into the sternum. Take a full breath in. Full breath out. Relax the tailbone, relax the knees. And then when you're ready, hands to the side, find your Tadasana. On the inhale, let the hands float up overhead. Fingertips together, look up at them, and then we're gonna dive in. Just floating down into a forward fold. Really releasing, allow the crown of the head to release, allow the arms to be heavy, and then soften the knees, and on the inhale, floating back up to stand. Hands floating overhead. And then back to the heart center, press the thumbs into the sternum, take a full breath in, full breath out, and release to Tadasana, mountain pose. Feel the strength in your mountain pose here. And then when you're ready, one more. On inhale, let the hands float up overhead. On the exhale, dive forward. Release the breath completely. Let the head hang. And then on an inhale, float back up to stand. All the way back up. And then bring the hands to heart center. Press the thumbs into the sternum. Take a full breath in. Full breath out. We're going to go ahead and take just a few rounds of our sun salutation to warm the body up a little bit more. So come to the top of your mat. Once again, find your mountain pose. So if you want to rock and roll the feet with the toes lifted, allow the tailbone to relax, soften the knees, allow the shoulders to relax. And then on an inhale, once again, we're going to let the hands float up overhead. As you exhale, diving forward into that forward fold. This time on the inhale, bringing the fingertips to the shin, extending through the spine, engaging the core, and then bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back into plank. We're going to take an extra breath here in plank, so if you need to, bring your knees to the mat, and then lower yourself down through your cobra. Keep the elbows tight against the ribs. And then exhale back, find your tabletop. Here in tabletop, take some juicy movement. And then tuck the toes, see if you can find your way to downward dog. Walk out your dog. Bend one knee deeply, take a breath. Bend the other knee deeply, take a breath. And then see if you can find a moment of stillness. And then we're going to walk the feet forward to meet the hands as if something really sticky is covering the mat, and you're just taking little baby steps here. So just appreciating each little step. As you walk towards the hands, you can spider the fingers, come up onto the fingertips, and then find your forward fold. Once you're in your forward fold, clasp opposite elbows, see that your head is relaxing, and then keeping the knees soft, just leaning over to the right, and then over to the left, and then back to center. Release the arms, softening the knees, and rolling back up to stand. Let the hands float up as you stand. Fingertips together, draw that energy back to heart center. Take a full breath in, full breath out, connecting to the heart. And then hands back to the side, back into Tadasana. a full breath in, full breath out. One more round. On the inhale, let the hands float up overhead. As you exhale, diving forward, forward fold. On the next inhale, fingertips to shin, extending the crown of the head, forward with a flat back, and then bending the knees, bringing the hands to the mat, stepping back into plank. Take a full breath in, and then lower the knees, draw the chest and chin through into cobra, and then exhale back, tabletop. Take any movement you need to on tabletop to unwind. So hip circles or swaying, and then press into the hands, tuck the toes, downward dog. Walk your dog as much as you need, and then find a moment of stillness. On your next inhale, let's lift the right leg, bend the right knee, take the knee in a big circle to roll out that hip joint. Make sure you take that circle in the opposite direction. And then leveling out the hips, we're gonna step the right foot forward between the hands, left knee down, low lunge. Take a few breaths here. And then we're gonna walk that right foot out to the right and find our way to dragon. So you can keep the sole of the foot on the mat, or you can open the right knee out to the right so you're on the blade of the right foot. You can stay with your fingertips underneath you, or you can use your blocks and start to come down. Maybe one hand up, one hand down, or perhaps you're all the way down. Just gonna stay here for 5 breaths. So whatever dragon you're in, you can play around with it. Do you like the foot on the mat? Do you like the leg open with the blade of the foot? Just stay here and breathe. One more full breath in, full breath out. If you're down on the elbows, bring the hands underneath the shoulders. We're just gonna bring the right leg back so we're back at our tabletop and take that juicy movement. And then from tabletop, pressing into the tips of the fingers and knuckles between the fingers, tucking the toes and moving back into downward dog. Walk your dog. Dogs like to really shake off, so feel like you can take any movement here you'd like. And then find your moment of stillness. On the next inhale, we're gonna lift the left leg, bend the left knee, take it in a big circle. Take the circle both directions. And then step the left foot forward. Bring the right knee down to the mat. Take a few breaths here in low lunge. So you can look forward and just see what's your growing edge, right? You need to move the foot as you let the hips come down. Take another breath there, and then we're gonna bring the left hand inside the left foot. Walk the left foot out a little bit. It might be different on this leg. Maybe you wanna come onto the blade of the left foot. Maybe the left foot stays on the floor. And then see what you need. If you wanna have one hand on a block, one hand up, whatever your growing edge is, find your way down a little bit here in dragon. We should just call this reptile. Different traditions call this either lizard or dragon or gecko. Go ahead and see if we can find 3 more breaths here. And then on an inhale, if you're on the blade of the foot, go ahead and bring the sole of the foot back to the mat. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders and just draw that left leg back and take some juicy movement. And then tucking the toes, pressing into the hands, making your way back to downward dog. Once again, we're going to get to the top of the mat with baby steps. So find a moment of stillness. And then just start to walk the feet towards the hands, nice and slow. So bending the knees, so really getting a lot of movement here in the joints. And then find your way to forward fold. Once you're there, clasp opposite elbows, let yourself really hang, knees are soft, don't lock the knees. And then take yourself over just a little to the right. And then back a little to the left. And then find your center, release the hands, soften the knees, roll back up to standing. Let the hands float up. And then bring the hands back to heart center, press the thumbs into the sternum, take a few breaths. And then we're gonna give ourselves a little chronic bath. So arms together in front of you, palms up. And then as if you're scooping up something, pouring it over, you keep the elbows together as long as you can. And as they start to come apart, roll the backs of the hands together and up. And then bring the fingers, come back down to where you started. We're going to take about 4 more rounds of that, so with your own time. Inhaling. And then coming back to where you started. Two more. Last one. Once you're back to center, just bring the hands either to the heart or to the lower dantian, to the right below the belly button, and just take a few breaths there. And then we're going to widen the feet again. So outside edges of the feet are parallel. Interlacing the hands behind the back. Draw the knuckles down towards the mat so that the shoulder blades come together in the back. The heart is open. And then from there, find your forward fold. Now, if that doesn't feel available, you can also just clasp onto opposite elbows. Wherever you're at, just be there with yourself, letting the heart open, allowing the head to be heavy. Take another full breath in, full breath out. And then softening the elbows, pressing the feet, coming back up to standing. Release the hands, find star pose. So fingers are bright, arms are alongside the body. Not alongside the body, they're moving out from either side of the body. Take another full breath in, and then we're going to come onto the ball of the foot, lift the heels, bring the heels in. So now the toes are pointed out about 45 degrees. And from here, we're going to move into goddess. So bending the elbows and then bending the knees, finding goddess pose, relax relax the tailbone, and then coming back up. So we're gonna pulse here. Full breath in as you exhale, finding goddess. Now you can fierce your breath here and find a little Kali breath. Piercing the eyes, letting the tongue out, and then inhaling up. And a few more rounds here. Nice big fresh breath. Last one. And then back to star pose. Now we're going to turn the right toes towards the short end of the mat and turn the back heel out so it's parallel with the back of the mat. And then bend the right knee, and we're here in warrior two. Take a few breaths here in warrior two. We're going to work with the archer today. So these warrior positions, this one is an archer, and it exists in more traditions than yoga. So the first thing we're going to do is take our front fingers, your right hand, make a little peace sign. That's your viewfinder. And then we're going to draw arch up in the sky with the back hand. Grab the string of the bow, draw the bow across the chest, and then we're going to find something through our viewfinder that needs a little bit of extra love in the world, and then release the bow, release both hands back to earth, and then draw earth energy as you straighten that right leg. Turn on the right heel, so now your feet are parallel. And then turn on the left foot, so the left toes point towards the short end of the mat. And then arms back out to the side, and you're back in warrior two. Making your peace fingers with your front hand. Drawing an arch in the sky with the back hand. Clasping the bow, opening the string of the bow, looking through the peace fingers at through the viewfinder, finding something that needs a little extra energy or love in the world, and then releasing the bowstring and releasing both hands back to the mat, drawing up the hands from the earth, straightening both legs, toes are both facing the long end of the mat, and then turning back, warrior two, bend the knees. So we're going to take that a few more times. Take a few breaths in, just find your steadiness in your warrior two. Look through your peace fingers, see if you can find something in this world that needs a little extra peace, and then draw the back hand forward to clasp the string of the bow, draw the string of the bow across the body, focusing on that thing that needs a little extra love, and then release the string of the bow. Back to earth, both hands come, and then draw up earth energy as you straighten the front leg, turn on the toes and heels, and then find your way to warrior two on the other side. Again, drawing an arch with the back hand, drawing the string of the bow, concentrating on where you're going to send that extra love to, and then releasing the string of the bow, both hands back to the floor, and then draw the hands up as you straighten both legs. One more time each side. So I always send some extra chi to the polar bears. So you can find really anything that needs just a little extra love and attention. Whatever it is for you today, go ahead and find one more, the other side. And then as you find your way back to center, coming back into star pose once again. Just breathe here, radiating out from the heart. Take a full breath in, full breath out. All my lights have gone off, so I'm gonna turn on some extra light here. All right, now we're going to add just a little bit to that flow. So again, turning the right toes towards the top end of the mat, turning the back heel out, and then bending the front knee, finding your way to warrior two. One more time, peace fingers, drawing an arch in the sky, clasping the string of the bow, opening the string of the bow, setting your sights on what needs a little extra chi or prana, releasing the bow. And then this time we're going to come straight into side angle. So just gently bringing the right hand to the top of the thigh. And now we're that arrow, making that shape of that arrow flying through. So pressing into the back edge of the back foot. Find your side angle. Take a full breath in, full breath out, and then coming back into warrior two, turning the front palm towards the ceiling and reversing your warrior. So reaching the right hand towards the back foot, take a full breath in, full breath out, and then back into side angle. Take a full breath in, full breath out, and then back to warrior two, turning the front hand, reversing the warrior. Go ahead and find one more breath. That front leg might be getting tired. See if you can bring the weight equally onto both feet. Reverse the warrior one more time. And then back to warrior two. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes. So you're back in your star position, brighten the fingers, and then turning to the other side. Starting with our archer, peace fingers in the hand, front leg is bent. And then draw the bow. Release, and then as you release, we're going to come into side angle. So creating a dynamic tension between the blade of the back foot and the fingertips, and then moving through warrior two, turning the front palm towards the ceiling, reverse the warrior. And then back to side angle. Take a full breath. Warrior two, turn the hand, find your reversed warrior, and then back to side angle. Inhaling up, turning the front palm towards the ceiling, reverse your warrior. And then last time, back to side angle. And then back to warrior, to reversing the warrior. And then back to warrior two. Straightening the front leg, turning the toes, star pose. Radiate out that light from the heart. And then we're going to take a forward fold from here. So once again, you can either just fold forward with your hands on the waist, you can interlace your hands behind the back, or you can clasp onto opposite elbows, whichever it is for you today. Just see if you can keep your heart open and then fold forward. Take another full breath in, full breath out. And then softening the elbows, coming back up to stand. Heel toe the feet in, so you're just slightly wider than hip distance. Heels in, toes out. We're going to come into our Melasma Squat, so you can bring the hands up overhead, and then coming down into your squat, letting the elbows kiss the inside of the thighs, and then pressing yourself back up. So you can adjust the feet however you need. As you exhale, we're just going to come to let the elbows kiss the knees and then rise back up. 3 more. Exhale down. Inhale up. If this is a growing edge, you're welcome to just stay in your Melasma. You can put a block underneath you. Last one. And here we're going to pause. So see if you can press the legs into the arms, press the arms into the legs. Perhaps you can get that lift, feeling of a lift from the pelvic floor. Heart open and forward. So you can find 3 more breaths here. Last one. You got this. We're going to release and come down onto the mat. Let's start with a little staff pose here. So legs are out in front. Now, if you have tight hamstrings, bring your towel folded underneath the knees so that the knees will stay a little bit bent. Okay, so we don't want to lock the knees. Grab the flesh, move the flesh out from either side of you so you can feel the bones, those sits bones. And then we can walk the heart forward. You're welcome to use a block here, or just bring the heart forward. If you have a block, you're going to make an L shape, squeeze the block, squeeze the hands towards each other. So that brings the shoulder blades together in the back. And then as you exhale, bringing the heart towards the knees, but trying to keep the arm bones out of your peripheral vision. So if you don't have a block, you can just be here. One more breath to get down. And then release yourself forward, let the head hang. And just breathe. So you can find 3 more breaths here. And then release the hold of the feet. Hands on either side of you. Press in the hands, walk yourself back up. We're going to bend one knee in and let the other leg extend. So it doesn't matter which one you start with. Once again, you can move a little bit side to side. Move the flesh out of the way, feel your sits bones. And then first we're going to turn towards the extended leg. And then again, just walking the heart forward. So wherever you're at, if there's a lot of tension in the bent knee, you can bring a towel underneath it. So you're really turning the chest towards the extended leg and just leaning forward. Keep the head and neck in line with the spine until you find your edge, and then you can allow the head and neck to relax. So you can find 3 more breaths here. And then walk the hands up alongside the legs. Turn towards your bent knee. See if you can bring your elbow into the thigh of the extended leg. And then we're going to stretch the side body here. So you can bring your hand to hold your head. So we're really, this time, instead of turning towards the extended leg, we're working on opening up this opposite side body. And you can just stay here for a few breaths. Let that hip of whatever leg you have bent stay heavy. One more full breath in, full breath out. And then draw yourself back up. Trade legs, so extending the opposite leg, bending the one that was extended. First turning the body towards the extended leg and just walking the heart forward. So you can take a few breaths to get down. And then once you find your edge, you can release the head, release the neck, and just Pause there. And another full breath in, full breath out. And then walk yourself back up. Turn forward. Bring the elbow, whichever leg is extended, into the thigh. And then turn towards the bent leg and see if you can open up. So you're opening up the side body facing forward. Perhaps you can bring the hand underneath the head and just hang there a few breaths. So you put another full breath in, full breath out. And then go ahead and bring yourself back up. We're going to bend both legs and roll onto the back. Squeeze everything to center. So it's like you're a little seed here. Just squeeze it all in, rock side to side. Interlace the hands over the shins and just take a few breaths there. Feel the belly expand into the thighs. As you exhale, squeeze the legs, press out the breath. And then go ahead and release the feet back onto the mat. We're going to take a twist here. I'll guide you through a double leg twist. If you want to take twisted roots by stacking the legs or any sort of deeper twist, you're welcome to. Otherwise, grab your block or a towel. We're going to press into the feet to lift the pelvis, scooch the pelvis over to the right, set it down, lift the legs up, put a spacer between the legs, arms out to the side, and legs are going to come over to the left. Now, if coming to the floor with the legs brings the right shoulder up, pop something underneath the legs. So that'll bring the right shoulder back down. If there's a difference between the steadiness of the shoulders, press into the arms, lift the shoulders, see if you can find more symmetry there between the two shoulders. Arms are out to either side. Take a few breaths. And then either with the eyes open or closed, we're just gonna take the eyes over to the left, stretching out those muscles in the eyes. And then take the eyes over to the right. Now perhaps as you look to the right, the head will want to follow, and just allow the head to follow. Eyes can be closed off. And then release any effort with the eyes and just breathe here in your twist. Take a few more breaths here. If the head is looking to the right, go ahead and roll it back to center. Reach down and remove that block. Roll and walk yourself back to center. And then we'll take the same pose, the other side. So pressing into the feet, lifting the pelvis, scooch the pelvis over to the left, set it down. Lift the legs, place the spacer between the legs, and draw the legs over to the right. If the left shoulder is starting to come up, either place something underneath the legs or find more evenness by lifting the shoulders and then placing them back down. And then we'll stretch the eyes out one more time. So first, just look the eyes over to the right. Take a few breaths there. And then look the eyes over to the left. Take a breath, and then perhaps the head wants to follow to the left. And then let the eyes close off. Release the effort and just breathe. See if you can find a few more breaths here. And then let the head roll back to center. Reach down, remove the block. Roll yourself back onto the back and back into your little fetal position or seed. Squeeze the knees towards the chest, rock a little side to side. And we're going to come up to come into our next pose. So you can either bring the fingertips to the back of the thighs and give yourself a little back massage, or you can just roll over to one side or the other. And for our last pose, we're going to take a supported fish pose. So you can use a soft block, or you can use a towel folded, and we're going to bring that block or that towel between the shoulder blades. So you're going to set the block down, find the bottom of the shoulder blades, and then just relax onto the block so the head is supported. Arms come out to the side. You can leave the knees bent. If the knees are bent, you can let the knees come towards each other with the feet wider than the knees, or you can extend the legs long. Make sure the head is supported by either the mat or place something underneath it if it's not quite coming to the mat. Don't leave it hanging and floating. You're just breathing here. And see here if you can connect back with that central channel, that channel of energy coming down to the crown, to the center of the body, to the heart, and then down, rooting you to earth. See if you can find 5 more breaths here. And then see how it feels to just bring the hands up overhead. And find a few breaths there. And then bend the knees if you've straightened the legs. We're going to roll just onto one side for a moment. Remove the block or the towel. And then roll back onto the back. And find your way to Shavasana. So feel the whole back expand on the mat. Arms towards the ceiling, legs extended. If you have a bolster or pillow, place it under your knees. Especially if you have any lower back pain. And then here, just keeping the mind alert enough just to notice what has happened in the body during the last hour. So you can take that full relaxation with you into your day. Let the eyes be heavy. And then let yourself start creating a little sensory awareness. Just bringing the first finger to touch the tip of the thumb. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale, release that first finger from the thumb. Bring the middle finger to touch the thumb. Take a full breath in. Release that finger, and then bring the ring finger to touch the tip of the thumb. Take a full breath. And then bring the pinky to touch the tip of the thumb. And then go ahead and walk the fingers back. Just gently taking a breath at each connection. And then perhaps extending all the fingers, bringing them in towards the palm to make a fist, starting to extend and flex in the toes. Perhaps you want to roll the neck and head out a little bit, looking over to the right, and then rolling back, looking over to the left. And then start to walk the feet together, let the hands come up overhead, and just take a full body stretch here. And then bend the knees. Roll onto one side, find your way to fetal pose. Really hug the knees in towards the chest and give yourself a little hug here. With whatever arm you're not laying on, squeezing the legs towards the chest, and take a few breaths here, just remembering you're centered, you're grounded, you're strong. And then whatever hand you're not using as a pillow, press that into the floor and draw yourself back up. Find your comfortable seat here. And bring the hands to the tops of the thighs, just inside the kneecap. We're just going to give this area a little circle with our palms. This point on the legs and acupressure and the meridians is called joy of living. So we're just going to stimulate that point, the little joy of living point. And then take the circles with the palms the opposite direction. And then see if you can just allow the hands to rest there for a moment. If you want to make a mudra with your hands and bring the first finger and the thumb together, that's great. And just take this last few moments to bring the breath deeply back into the belly. Connecting again with that central channel, seeing that connection between heaven and earth that lies within you. That heavenly Qi prana coming down to the crown, through the central channel, rooting you to earth. Take another few breaths here, just expansive, big belly breaths. And then release the hands from the legs, bring the fingertips together and press the thumbs into the sternum. And then bring the chin towards the chest, just honoring your own efforts and your own wholeness, your own ability to get through whatever lies ahead of you today. tomorrow and next week, this whole lifetime. Thank you for allowing me to guide your practice this morning. And please thank yourselves for showing up and being here for yourselves. Namaste. I want to share a little exercise that I showed Allison yesterday. If any of you or anyone you know is having anxiety or fear, you can tap on the sternum here, just gently tapping with my fingertips. If you really want to tap, you can tap here. You know, you can do all sorts of things, but it's a nice little area to just tap on to help bring you back into the heart. The thalamus is right there. So as you tap on this, you're releasing all sorts of hormones in the body to help just calm and soothe the body. So if at any time you need this, just no one's going to know what you're doing. You can just tap, 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 tap.